Happy birthday to me. It has been exactly 1 year since I uploaded my first video on this channel. It was just a little welcome video, an intro of sorts, and that led to some quick gameplays and reviews, which eventually led to where we are now. Speaking of, 56,000 plus subscribers in a year. I never in a million years would have seen that coming. A huge thank you to each and every one of you that has subscribed or even just watched a video. You're changing my life and I can't express my gratitude enough, but I can certainly try. It's my turn to give you guys something. I have a whole pile of VR games ready to give out, many of which are classics or some of my favorites. So we have Superhot, Moss, Gorn, Blade and Sorcery, Budget Cuts, Space Pirate Trainer, Cosmic Trip, and, of course, because it's my channel, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. On my original community post, I said that simply leaving a comment would enter you into the contest. So if you left a comment there, you're good to go. If you haven't yet or missed that post entirely, it's linked down in the description. You have until Friday to leave a comment there because on Saturday, March 14th, I'll be leaving a heart and comment on the posts that win. I only have one copy of each game, so the winner and the game they won will both be randomly selected. If you don't have a VR system or already have that game, let me know so I can pick another lucky person. One more thing before we get to the questions. We have some new channel art incoming. So this wolf right here, start saying goodbye. I know, many of you are attached to that guy and it makes sense, he's been here since the beginning. But you also have to understand that it is just some crappy PNG I lifted from a free source and slapped a VR headset on. There is no way to make it any sort of brand image or to use it in any commercial-like products, so it does have to go. Now, I enlisted one of my best friends who does art for video games to come up with some concepts. There were a few guidelines. I wanted it to be cool, but not badass. I'm not an amazing gamer by any stretch, and didn't want to give off the idea that I'm super kick-ass at playing games and will rock them, because I won't. So it has to be approachable, somewhat silly, and kind of feed into the 80s idea of virtual reality. We started with various typical wolf forms, kind of like the current logo. These are the very earliest concepts, but before we kept going on these designs, I wanted more of a push toward humanoid, a wolf that could actually play VR. But I still wanted the cartoony and unique feel. So more concepts were made, and eventually I landed on this one as my favorite. It had kind of a mix of some of my favorite early inspirations, Sonic, Star Fox, even Calvin and Hobbes, and it really hits that 80s feel for me. So we went forward another step, and this is where we're at today. The design of the character itself is pretty set, but we're still working on concepts for the headset, some of the clothing, and colorations. Overall, I'm really happy with the look, and I cannot wait to show off the finished product. It feels so much more distinctly me than the current logo, and I hope you guys like it too. Okay, on to the questions. I'm going to separate this into categories as best I can, with links to each one in the description below. There were hundreds and hundreds of questions, so I definitely won't get to them all. My apologies. Let's start with some questions about the origins of the channel. Many people asked,
why did you name your channel A Wolf in VR?
So I was studying writing and literature when I was in college, and there was one particular idiom that always stuck with me: a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm not really sure why. It's a biblical reference and I've never been really religious, but there was just something about that image of a wolf sneaking up on its prey by pretending to be a friend. Something I'm sure many of us have experienced over the course of our lives. So my mind was stuck on that phrase, and the channel was originally going to be called A Wolf in VR Clothing. It didn't make any sense, so it went to A Wolf in a VR Headset. And then I just shortened it down to what you see today, A Wolf in VR. Simple as that. Another question posed by multiple people:
why did you start YouTube?
It was purely as a hobby. I wanted some combination of my two favorite things, film and video games. Smash those together and YouTube seems like a great idea. And okay, truth be told, this isn't my first channel. I did another very bland, very boring, regular Let's Play channel. It no longer exists, but I spent a lot of time on that channel and gained just around 200 subscribers. It was defeating, but I also learned so much, like how to not be quite as terrible at YouTube. In 2016, a friend brought in a Samsung Phone VR headset to work, and it hooked me. I fell in love. So I immediately invested in a Vive. It was such a different experience, and I found myself so immersed in these worlds that I really wanted to share it. And VR allowed me to become a character when I played instead of controlling one on a screen. I felt free and allowed to be myself during a game rather than following a strict path. So fast forward to 2019 and I finally kicked back up on YouTube. Purely as something fun to do because despite failing on YouTube before, I really did enjoy the process. And now I had another reason, to get word out about VR, to let people know just how awesome this medium is. So YouTube was just for fun, never meant to be a job, but boy, am I happy it's headed that way.
Which YouTuber inspired you?
The original two were Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. I found it amazing that I could watch someone play a video game and keep me interested, often more entertained than I would be playing that game by myself. And then there was Josh Dub, who 100% made me want to try my hand at VR YouTubing. I thought I could be as funny as he is. I'm not even close. But I've gained my own style over the past year, and I'm really happy with how different we are in the same niche.
How does it feel seeing your community grow from 500 subs to 55k today?
I cannot describe it in words. It is both the best feeling in the world, knowing that people appreciate what you are creating enough to take time out of their day to watch or even comment on a video. But it's also really overwhelming. The pressure ramps up so quickly. You work harder and harder on videos. You get this constant feeling that you're going to disappoint the crowd. Another question I got here was, how did it feel when the Walking Dead series went from 300,000 views to around 40,000 views as the series went on? And at first it was really tough. You feel like you're letting the audience down, that you didn't do good enough. And then the thoughts go to, okay, I've played this game too much, but then everyone begs for more. So it's a really tough line to walk. But overall, I love it. Those little negatives are a blip in the ocean of happiness I feel to have such wonderful fans and such an amazing community. I am truly blessed, and I can't wait to keep growing with you.
What VR headset would you recommend?
This is actually a tough question because there are 3 answers depending on the situation. So, if you do not have a PC that is ready for VR, or perhaps you really value a wireless experience that you can bring around to friends' houses or to show off at parties, then I highly suggest the Oculus Quest. It's amazing what they've been able to squeeze out of that headset. And as an added bonus, you can hook it up to a computer via the Oculus Link, so best of both worlds. The headset is not the most comfortable, and your experience in top-end PC games will probably be better on other headsets. So, if you do have a killer PC and plan on using it for most of the games, the next recommendation comes purely from a budget standpoint. If you have the money and want the best VR experience possible, the Valve Index is stupendous. Amazing screen, high refresh rates, comfortable, best tracking, boom. $1,000 worth of boom. If you have more of a budget, the Oculus Rift S is the go-to. Also very comfortable, good screen, and super easy to set up. But there are trade-offs like a set physical IPD and not quite as good tracking. I actually use that headset the most for recording purely because it's really easy, and the Oculus Mirror is a godsend for recording. It allows me to change the field of view for the desktop screen along with other options.
Favorite VR game so far?
My favorite to play has probably been Asgard's Wrath. I love RPGs, and it was the first in VR that had an extensive story and playtime. I loved it. My favorite for the channel, though, would have to be Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I mean, it brought me so many of you. I can never thank that game enough.
Worst VR game you've played on the channel?
Anime Vampire Slayer. Do I really need to say any more?
Do you get motion sickness in VR? Any health issues from it?
I absolutely got motion sick when I first started. There was a space game called House of the Dying Sun that just wrecked me for many days. But if you start slow and make sure to stop as soon as you're feeling sick, it does eventually go away. So now I am fine and can deal with almost anything. No long-term or short-term side effects. No headaches or eye strain. I always play standing because sitting seems to make it worse for me, though that is the opposite for many people. I still really get car sick though, so it has not helped there.
How much stuff have you damaged by swinging wildly in VR?
So far nothing major. I've put 2 holes in a wall, but I've never broken a controller, monitor, or TV. So, a success, I would say.
What editing program do you use?
I use Adobe Premiere Pro for editing, Audacity to help with the audio, and Photoshop for thumbnails and any intricate edits on a single image.
How much time per day do you spend recording and editing?
It depends on the game, but I record for about an hour to 2 hours for each video. Then baseline editing, kind of cutting it down to size, is about 3 hours, another hour for audio, and then another hour for further editing, like adding jokes, images, zooms, sound effects, etc., etc. And then it's processing, creating the thumbnail, and uploading. So overall, I spend about 7 to 10 hours each day for a single video.
How do you come up with such amazing intros?
Great question. Usually it's well after I'm done filming the game. After I edit the video, I see if anything could be turned into a more extended joke, and then I'll make that the intro. Sometimes it'll just come to me when I see a situation in a game, but for the most part, it is totally random and never thought out beforehand.
How do you choose what game you'll be playing next?
So there are a couple of factors. I try and stick to new games as best I can, but VR doesn't have big games that come out really often. So I'll go back to popular games that I haven't played before. And I'll ask the community what they want to see too. I never watch any videos before I play a game. I like to go in with the least amount of information that I can, so I can create my own thoughts and character before I'm influenced by anyone else.
When is the next Walking Dead?
Tomorrow.
Asgard's Wrath Part 17?
Yeah, I gotta do that. I have all the characters and animal skins unlocked, so that will happen in the future, I promise.
Why didn't you play more LA Noire VR?
That's actually all the game is in VR. Only those missions. The flat screen game had like 40 plus missions, but the VR version just had 7. It's kind of a bummer, but still really fun.
Do you actually like playing scary games?
I do, kind of. I'm not entirely sure I would have been able to get through all of them if I wasn't filming for the channel. Definitely would have stopped and called it quits a few times.
Resident Evil VR?
I want to, I do. But I currently do not have a PlayStation VR, which is the only way you can play it. Once the PlayStation 5 comes out, if it ever does, I will get on it, I promise.
Moss?
I plan on it later, yes.
A Blade and Sorcery series or maybe Horn?
Maybe. That's really the best I can do. Most other VR YouTubers find their success in coming back to these sandbox types of games over and over, and their audiences love it. I do too, they're really funny. But unfortunately, that's not really my style. I love story and getting immersed into a game, and in sandbox games like that, it's more of quick cuts to various jokes over somewhat repetitive gameplay mechanics. So I love to touch on that stuff, but I don't like to overstay my welcome. But hey, if there's enough demand, I can see about getting to it sooner.
Super hot?
I think so, yeah.
Half-Life Alyx?
Yes, 100% we will start the series on the 24th, the day after it comes out. I plan on putting out a video every single day until we finish it. It should be amazing. Okay, and now the category everybody actually wants, the personal crap about me.
Did you have a job before YouTube? Still have a job?
I worked quite a bit before YouTube. I was a lifeguard, and then I worked at a video store, and then I was a barista at Starbucks for about 5 years. I worked at a few talent agencies doing script work, and most recently I worked at the Game Show Network. Currently, for the past couple of months, I do not have a job outside of YouTube. I have an amazingly supportive family and group of friends who have helped me out while I focus on the channel, trying to get it to a point where I can make it a full living. And we're actually really close to that goal. I just have to keep pushing, creating quality content, and we will get there. It's a dream come true.
Where do you live?
So I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, moved to Los Angeles after college to pursue writing and working in film. That didn't really work out, but I met some amazing people, moved to Atlanta, Georgia for a year, which is where I started to work on this channel, and then I moved back to Chicago just a few months ago to be closer to family and friends.
What's your name?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff. Jeff. No, not that Jeff. That Jeff is a douchebag, and not a Jeff with a G. I'm not fancy enough for that.
How old are you?
I am 31. I am practically ancient.
Face reveal?
Yes, but just not yet. 100,000 subscribers, and this face is yours.
Will you put a video of you on screen to watch while you play the games?
Probably not. My favorite thing about VR is that I get to become a character. I don't want to distract from any story or creating an image in your mind while my body flails around in the corner. But I might for some videos, like Blade and Sorcery would be a good candidate where there's not a lot of plot to distract from, and seeing the motion is pretty cool.
Do you play games outside of VR? Favorite games?
Heck yeah, I do. Since the channel, my other game time has definitely been limited, but I still try to hit the big games. I play a lot of World of Warcraft, have been since vanilla over 15 years ago, and currently I'm slowly making my way through Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. My all-time favorite games tend to be from my childhood, rose-tinted glasses and all that. So Final Fantasy VII and Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time are just heads above the rest for me. I can't explain how many hours I sat playing those games, sneaking downstairs when my parents fell asleep to get another few minutes in. Utter classics.
Are you a furry?
This seems to be a very common one since my channel is based around a wolf. I totally get it, but I am definitely not a furry. No.
Are you gay?
I am not, no.
Do you have a girlfriend?
I do, and she has been amazingly patient with me as I spend most of my day hunched over a computer or flirting with virtual women in VR. Hi. Oh, those are...
Kids?
No, I am definitely not ready for that yet.
Pets?
I had 2 dogs and 2 cats with the friends I was living with in LA and then Atlanta, but unfortunately I had to say goodbye when I moved back to Chicago. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But the dogs got to stay in a house in a much better situation than apartment hopping in a busy city. I currently live with a dog, but it's not really my own pet. I'm definitely a dog person over a cat person, but I do love them both.
Siblings?
Yep, I have a sister and a brother.
How tall are you?
I am right at the cusp of 6 foot. 5'11" and a half if we want to get crazy. I just tickle in the toes of it.
Hobbies outside of VR?
Video games, movies, writing, reading, sports is a big one, and generally being out and socializing with my friends as much as I can.
Favorite movie?
Lord of the Rings. All of it. Binge the entire extended edition as one movie.
Favorite food?
Barbecue pulled pork. All day, every day.
Favorite color?
Dark blue of sorts, navy or indigo. And now some random, real quick questions.
Any tips for a new YouTuber?
Keep at it. Your first few videos won't be great. Learn from them. Keep editing. It took me about 3 months for 100 subscribers. Most likely you won't see any quick success, and it can be deflating. Make sure the reason that you are doing it is not for views, but because you enjoy it. That will show up in your videos, and eventually you'll blow up.
How you like your eggs cooked, my man?
For the most part, scrambled, but I also love over easy, especially on burgers.
Pineapple on pizza?
Okay, Here's my most controversial answer. Hell yes, pineapple on pizza.
How are you doing?
I am so good, sincerely happy, and in a great place with my life.
Potato or tomato?
Oh, potato, hands down.
How do you like your steak?
Medium rare. Not spilling out blood, but I need some pink.
How many beans do you eat each day?
0. Not a fan of beans at all.
Bite into or actually pull string cheese?
Okay, you have to string the cheese. I am not a monster.
Pour milk or cereal into the bowl first.
Cereal. Come on, people.
If you could spend a day with a famous person, living or dead, who would it be?
It would be a librarian from the Library of Alexandria. There are so many works of literature and history that were completely lost when it went up in flames. I would love to know some of the stuff we're missing.
Most embarrassing moment in your life?
Oh boy. When I was in 7th grade, I racked up $300 in charges on an adult website. I put in fake credit card information, but because the internet back then was through phone lines, they just charged that. My parents were not happy.
How many times a day do you think you say, "Oh, I hate that"?
Really only when I play horror games. Otherwise, I like most things.
How do you deal with negative comments?
I try and find the feedback. I still have a ton to improve on, and negative comments actually help me improve, even if they're presented poorly. If there is no feedback, then just ignore it and move on.
You get one weapon in the apocalypse. What is it?
Okay, that's tough, because a gun relies on ammunition. A sword or an axe could get lodged in a skull, and a blunt object could shatter or bend. So unless I could choose like a sword gun from Final Fantasy VIII, I'd probably stick with a machete if I had to make a choice.
Can I boop your snoot?
Please.
Do you like me? Yes. No. Maybe.
100% yes. Okay, that was a lot, and it's a lot longer of a video than I expected it to be. I hope you learned a good bit about me and why I'm here on YouTube. Best of luck to everyone that left a comment on the community post. Some good games are coming your way. Thank you again for 50,000+ subscribers. I can't believe we're here, and I cannot wait to see where we go. Till next time, Wolfpack.